I want to talk about Set It Off.
Okay.
One of my favorites. And for those of you out there who might have missed out on this greatness, 1996.
Yes.
This film is about four women who end up robbing banks around Los Angeles, starring Vivica A. Fox, of course, Queen Latifah, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Kimberly Elise.
Directed by F. Gary Gray.
Yes, for sure. Put that in there, definitely. Now, there's talks that Issa Rae is in the process of creating a remake of Set It Off. You know, how do you feel knowing that after all this time, people still want to relive the magic of this film? Vivica, I cannot. Well, tell me why.
Okay, I'll give you an answer.
Why do you give me that
It's a classic. Leave it alone.
Okay.
There's absolutely no reason to try to redo it. It's been done.
Yeah.
And we did it so well that people are absolutely going to compare it to that. And I think that that's her taking on a tremendous chore, because that film has become a cult classic, and some things are just better left. Like, create your own new franchise. That if you want to do a new film of girls robbing banks, create your own thing. You can make it up to date. Like you said, we did that film in 1996. We are in 2019 going into 2020. So create your own thing, because people are absolutely going to compare it to it. And she'll probably, if it's not good, they're going to slay her for it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, you've been in this industry for over 30 years.
Yes.
And this is kind of, it's not off topic, but I'm just curious to get your perspective. We're in the season of reboots, or the phase of reboots and recreating things. How do you feel about that, being someone who has seen these films created over the years, and now people are now trying to go back and relive this magic?
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with it if they do something that goes into the next chapter of the story.
Okay.
It's when they try to recreate it and it's already been done and that magic's been captured in a bottle. It's very hard to capture that, just so you know. I worked on some films that I thought was going to be all that in a bag of chips, and they came out and it was like, nothing happened. So nothing's guaranteed. Unless it's moving the story forward, I just don't think that should be done.
Okay, so y'all just heard that audio right there, and it came from E.T., in which Vivica Fox was being interviewed. And let me just say right now, I agree 100% with everything she just said in this particular segment right here. So everybody should recognize this picture right here. This is the picture from Set It Off. It's not the official poster, but it's actually one of my favorite images from when they were doing, I guess you can say, photography for the film, for promotion of the film. This is one of my favorite pictures of the four women that were in that film. And Set It Off definitely is, like she said, a cult classic, but black folks, we often call those movies like this hood classics. And it definitely is. And it was original for that time, because we've always had bank robber type films before, but we've never seen not only a bank robber type film with a group of women that happened to be black. That was different at that time to create something such as that. And F. Gary Gray, who has a tremendous career. I mean, his career, like, he doesn't get enough credit. I don't think people really recognize F. Gary Gray until he did Straight Outta Compton. And then, of course, he did one of the Fast and Furious films. But he's done other films like Friday and, of course, Set It Off. And this is what I actually learned about the film Set It Off. Set It Off was actually an independent film. It wasn't a huge budgeted film. I think they said they shot the film in like 3 weeks. And you looking at the film, you would never expect that they shot this movie in 3 weeks. But I think they said it took them 3 weeks to shoot and film this entire movie, which is amazing when you look at it, because the film actually stands the test of time. It came out in 1996. I was 7 when this movie came out. I remember I wanted to go see it, but back then your parents didn't allow you to watch R-rated movies. But when it came out on like HBO or whatever, you snuck and watch it. So definitely a classic of its time. But I agree with what Vivica said on a multitude of levels. One, if Issa Rae is such a creative content person, what she has put out her own content before she became and blew up, then she doesn't need to remake such a classic film, because like she said, if the movie is terrible or people don't receive it well, then people are going, that's going to put a dent on her career. Not that I would really care, but she's actually saying so many words not to put her down and say that if she does it, it's going to be terrible, but she's trying to protect her career. If you really dissect what Vivica was saying, she's trying to protect her career and say, this may not be the best move for you. Another thing she said I agree with is, if you're going to do something based on Set It Off, do something where the story of the original movie leaves off. As we all know in the film, Vivica, Queen, and Kimberly Elise, they died. They got killed in that movie. Jada was the only person who survived. We left off with her being in Mexico. She called Blair Underwood's character on that payphone, basically thanking him for not snitching on her, and she drives off in a Jeep and the movie cuts off. That would, if you wanted to, pick up where that part left off, what happened? Like, what was she doing all these years? Let it be in present day. What was she doing while she was in hiding for all these times? Are they still even looking for her? I don't think they, pick it up like that. Does she have a family or anything like that? But the way they kind of ended it, in my opinion, it's kind of hard to pick it up right there, especially now, because so much time has passed. So I think they should just leave it alone. And like she also said, if you want to make a movie about women robbing banks nowadays, yes, it's going to have comparisons to Set It Off because they set the tone, but they had to pick, they got compared to other bank robber type films. But like I said, what set them different and apart is because you had 4 black women robbing banks, and they all had a reason as to why they were doing it, not just because they had a lust for greed. And I feel like I'm about to do a synopsis, but we all know why they're doing it. Vivica's character, she did it because she got fired from her job unjustly. Jada's character, she did it because the cops killed her brother. Kimberly Elise, she's doing it because she got to get her son back out of the system after he poisoned himself at her job. And Queen, she's just doing it because she wanted the money. Her character was just the greediest one of them all. Like, she just wanted the money. She was tired of being in poverty and, working for Luther's janitorial. I just had to say it like that because that's how he said it in the movie. But yeah, I definitely agree with what Vivica was definitely saying 100%. And not only just what she's saying here, but we live in a time where there is no original content. Or if there is, it's very minimal. You don't see it that much. We live in a time where there are recreations or adaptations or reboots and remakes and rehashes. There's a lot of re's going on. It's like a lack of original content, that when we see something original, we're excited to hear, we're excited to see it, because it's not only because it's something we haven't seen, but it's a breath of fresh air that that something like this is being seen. That's why when the movie Get Out came out, a lot of people were very excited to see it, because a lot of people haven't seen something like that before. Now, some will argue that the idea may have come from some kind of body snatchers type of film, but the way that Jordan Peele did it and added a social commentary to it was very different. So it's like he took an old trope but threw something in there to kind of throw you off, and that was original. Same thing he did with the movie Us. A lot of people didn't understand that film when it first came out, but it took them a while, and once they really understood it, then it made sense. But yeah, definitely, create your own content, because, people will appreciate you more for it. And we live in a time where originality is starting to fade into obscurity. Everybody's copying somebody else. Everybody's biting off of everybody. There's nothing original floating around anymore. It's literally, we live in a wash, rinse, repeat society where we're just biting off of someone is seen as this new trendy thing. Think of what that Miley Cyrus did when she was twerking on Robin Thicke back in 2013, and that display was just ugh. They made it seem like she invented something new. It was black women twerking all over the place back in the 90s. They didn't call it twerking, but that's what it was. But they made it seem like she did this brand spanking new thing. But I could really go on and on and on about this, but at the end of the day, Vivica Fox was definitely correct. And I'm glad she said that and didn't come out and say, oh, I wholeheartedly agree that Issa Rae should go ahead and remake this movie, because then it would have been like, are you just trying to, find a way to get your career back on track? Because let's be real, we haven't seen Vivica really in anything mainstream in years. It's been a while. I think she's been regulated to doing more smaller like roles and everything like that, which is a shame because she is a decent actress. Like in the 90s, like she was pretty much damn near everywhere. And for the most part, she never really played a stereotype to my knowledge. But, so it's well, except for that episode where she was in the Fresh Prince, she kind of played like that. She kind of played a little bit of a stereotype in there. But yeah, like I'm just glad she said what she said. I'm sure that the other 3 ladies who were in the film would agree as well. And this is not and for her, she said it in the tone where it wasn't a jab at Issa Rae and everything like that. And she shouldn't take it as one. So I hope that she puts that idea of wanting to remake Set It Off back on the shelf, let it stay there, and let's not have that discussion again. Because some things, like she said, are better left done where they are. Because it's not like Set It Off was a flop. It's not like it was a bad movie, and you're trying to remake it to make it so you can make it better. It was a very good film, especially for that time. And like I said, look at the distance, like at the time distance. We're talking well over 20 years ago since that movie came out. We're talking, 23 years? Because it came out in 96. So it's about 23 years when that movie came out. You're trying to remake that. It's not going to work. Like, I couldn't see anybody else playing these characters but the ones you see on your screen right now. I just couldn't see it, especially the Cleo character, Queen Latifah. Like, she bodied that role for real. I'm just being honest. She was one of the best parts of that movie, and it showed a side of her that none of us have ever seen, because we were so used to seeing her as Khadijah every week on Living Single. I'm showing my age, but hey, it is what it is. But I'm going to end the video off right here. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.